Hello everyone, GoldenNova here. We're dipping back into the Rush pool, and this time with a recently released theme at that. Ooh, look at me being all topical. But it's not a totally new archetype either. We're dealing with some TCG imports this time around. But it's not the sleek and sophisticated Cyber Dragon, nor the fantastical and bombastic heroes. Instead, we'll be delving into a timeline that has ill been explored in the core game, so Rush has taken up that particular mantle. Warrior of Zera is an enigmatic figure. Of the recurring characters in the game, few have had such a diverse timeline, with Digrepher perhaps being the only one more experienced. We've seen this warrior attain seraphic status as a denizen of the sanctuary in the sky, but we've also seen them descend into the depths of pandemonium to embrace a devilish power, succumb to a zombie plague, and even take on the power of evil whilst among the ranks of the angels above. But there is yet another path. A destiny that, while still embroiled in fiendish fire, eschews the hierarchy of hell itself, and instead is the result of pursuing power cultivated from within, no matter how dark that power may be. This is the version of the warrior that we have been graced with today. So hone thy blade and prepare to consult with demons most foul, as it is time for Rush Zera Explained. Today's episode is possible thanks to viewers like you, as well as my patrons. If you like what I do here, I would super appreciate it if you'd subscribe to help us reach another wonderful milestone video. And if you want to support me directly while getting some awesome benefits, check out the link to my Patreon in the description below. So, what's the deal with Zera? Well, the Warrior of Zera is a level 4 Earth Warrior normal monster with 1600 attack and defense. And that's good because having various normal monsters with 1600 attack is going to come up a few times over the course of our effects. They're also an import card from the core game along with a few others, namely Ryukushin Powered, a level 4 Dark Fiend monster with 1600 attack and 1200 defense. Then we have the original Zera the Mant, a level 8 Dark Fiend ritual monster with 2800 attack, 2300 defense, and no effect. Yeah, they didn't exactly furnish ritual monsters with a lot of extra goodies back in the day. We've also got Zera Ritual, a ritual spell card that ritual summons Zera the Mant from your extra deck by sending monsters from your hand or field whose levels equal 8 or more. Okay, so this isn't exactly like it is in the core game. There have been some minor changes here made to facilitate the fact that we are now in rush duels. Namely that we send the monsters to the graveyard, we don't tribute them here, and we ritual summon from the extra deck in this version of the game, so we don't have to worry about getting it into our hand first. Other than that though, they work the exact same way. Now, why in the heck is Ryukushin Powered invited to the party? Do they have like some secret lore connection to Zera heretofore unexplored? No! See, the designers of the game are pretty funny and pull from all kinds of sources to get their ideas. In this particular case, they're going all in on the Forbidden Memories angle. Yeah, that one Yu-Gi-Oh game that everyone seems to want to speedrun despite the fact that it wants to kill you. In that game, rituals were like fusions. Which is weird because fusion is a pretty big mechanic in Forbidden Memories, but not like how we use it in the core game. You needed to offer up particular monsters to manifest the ritual monster the spell was associated with, and for Zera, you needed Ryukushin Powered, King of Yami-Makai, and Wicked Dragon with the Ersatz head. And while Ryukushin Powered got away with showing up as is, here we get effect retrains of the other two coming up in just a bit to facilitate the deck, so keep an eye out for those. Speaking of which, let's get into that roster. Wicked Dragon with the Ominous Head is a level 4 Winged Dragon monster with 900 attack and defense that sends the top 2 cards of your deck to the grave. Then you can add an Ominous Ogre of Yami-Makai or a Sword of Zera from your graveyard to your hand. So you can either recover your lost support monsters, which is great because this dragon is not the best at battling, so replacing it for the tribute summon of Yami-Makai is a great turn of events, or you get a pretty snazzy equip spell. Can't get into too much detail about those right now, but it packs a real punch. It's a great way to get your resources back into rotation, and I've gotta say, one of my favorite things about covering this theme is that I get to see this doofus getting another shot at the spotlight. Truly, Wicked Dragon with the Ersatz head is one of the best monster names out there, and having it on a dragon with an evil stomach mouth, it's perfect! Like, there's not any other name it could have been. It's like Destiny. 10 out of 10. Ominous Ogre of the Yami-Makai is a level 5 Dark Fiend monster with 1600 attack and 1300 defense, whose effect requires you to activate it the turn into normal or special summon. The effect sends a card from your hand to the grave, Then you can special summon a Wanderer of Zera from your graveyard to your field in phase-up defense position. Wanderer is coming up next in this section, but suffice it to say, it's another link in the chain when it comes to making our ritual summons possible, so being another way to get the pieces into rotation is pretty slick, especially if this card's tribute fodder is paid for with Ominous Dragon. Though, I can see why the original is a king, while this one is just a regular ogre. That stat line is not doing anyone any favors, and that stance, that is not king behavior at all. Wanderer of Zera is a level 8 Earth Warrior monster with 2300 attack and 1600 defense, and you can tribute summon it in attack position with only one monster if that monster is a normal one with 1600 original attack. And its effect allows you to set a Zera ritual from your graveyard to your spell and trap zone. So this pretty much completes our cycle. Ominous Dragon gets Ogre, which then summons Wanderer, which can get back our ritual spell. It's even 8 levels by itself, so we can immediately make one of the Mants. Not to mention, it's easily accessible, able to hit the board with just one tribute if our previously mentioned normal monsters are around, on top of the effective Ogre. And all that's on a body with a decent stat line and has a way bigger sword with a chain attached to its other arm. Not only does this mean that he's going to be throwing it around, pulling it back with that chain, it also means he's going to look pretty cool while doing it. I mean, honing your body to be a weapon is one thing, but if you're doing it without looking rad as hell, what's the point? Zera the Evil Fiend is a level 8 Dark Fiend ritual monster with 2800 attack and 2300 defense that we can ritual summon with the card Zera's Advent. The effect requires you to activate it the turn it was ritual summoned, while you have a normal monster with 1600 attack in your graveyard. The effect itself special summons a Fiend-type non-effect monster from your grave face up to your field. And while we're here, let's take a look at Zera's Advent. It's a ritual spell, and it counts as Zera ritual while in the graveyard, meaning we can set this from the grave with Wanderer of Zera's effect. And it can ritual summon either Zera the Mant or Zera the Evil Fiend by sending face-up monsters from your field to the graveyard whose total levels equal 8 or more. So the trade-off is that you can use it to summon both of the Zeras, but you can't use material from your hand. Only the original can do that. Now, back to our Evil Fiend, it can't grab back Warrior of Zera with that summon effect, but you can get Ryukushin power, if you're on the lower end of things. Remember, the original Zera is a ritual monster, but it sure doesn't have any effects, meaning if we can ritual summon Evil Fiend Zera on top of Mant Zera, we can immediately bring it back to the field, giving us two 2800 attack monsters. Good thing we don't have any Xyz monsters around, otherwise I'd be tempted to fold them together. But even without everyone's favorite Yu-Gi-Oh sandwiches, these still pack an outrageous punch. As well they should. They put their whole soul into the art of this card. Zera the Mant was always a cool looking card, but now it looks like we would have imagined Zera to be when it first came out. This card slaps. My jealousy for Rush continues to grow day by day. Alright, that does it for the monsters. Now it's time for the spells and traps. First up is Jagged Claw Attack, a normal spell card that requires you to have Zera the Mant face up on the field, and it destroys a card on your opponent's field. This is some pretty solid removal for the format, and does incentivize you to play base Zera. Evil Fiend Zera does not have a name-changing effect on it, so while you may be tempted to only play the one that has an actual effect on it, you'll have to include the vanilla one if you want to scratch your opponent's eyes out. Though, Zera, really consider investing in a nail file. A honed claw attack sounds just as cool, and those jagged claws won't get caught in your cape as often. Zera's Research is a normal spell card that sends the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Then you can add a level 4 Earth or Dark attribute normal monster with 1600 attack, or a Zera Ritual from your grave to your hand. So once you have any of these cards in your graveyard, Research allows you to put them right back into your hand. Both those monsters help you to get Wanderer out from your hand, and because Zera's Advent counts as Zera Ritual, that's another target for this card. But it doesn't seem like we're doing a lot of research here now, does it? He's just kind of enjoying a nice hike. And hey, taking a break is a pretty important part of any labor, but it's not called Warrior of Zera takes a gap year now, is it? So let's see this guy hit the scrolls. The Sword of Zera is an equipped spell card that equips to a face-up Warrior of Zera or Zera the Mant, and during your turn, the equipped monster gains 1000 attack and deals piercing battle damage. This means your Warrior of Zera isn't going to be a 2600 attack monster during your opponent's turn, but it does mean that Zera the Mant can swing in with 3800 attack through defense position monsters. That's so cool. And even if we lose the card, Wicked Dragon with the ominous head can put it right back into your hand, fixing one of the inherent problems of using equip spells. This might mean we have to leave the dragon out to dry without turning them into a beefier monster, but that's the cost of being ominous. Sadly, this card is proof that I'm getting old, too. The crossguard for this blade is epic, utilizing Zera's big dinosaur fiend head as a striking image. But it is incredibly impractical. It conflicts with where your wrists will be, the edge alignment's going to be way out of whack. This is just untenable. Wicked Fire Blast of Zera is a normal trap card that you can activate when your opponent normal or special summons a monster while you have Zera the Mant face up on your field, and it destroys a card on your opponent's field. Then you can inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. Another outrageous card. It seems like every theme worth its salt has some kind of trap card like this, and it looks like we've got a good example of it on our hands. Not only are we blasting any card of our choice, we're also moving closer to the end game. It's another trap card that requires us to be running Zera the Mant, which does mean it's a load-bearing monster, so it's going to be the target of a lot of removal, but if you can keep it safe, you'll be a force to be reckoned with. As long as you can keep the spice cabinet all stocked up. I'm telling you, all Zeras do are eat hot chip and kill. So that's all the Zera cards, but what do we do with them? Well, the game plan seems pretty streamlined. We want to get to Evil Fiend Zera as swiftly as possible, setting up the Double Michael Zera combo. Then, leave our opponent with so few life points that our trap card can finish things off by itself. So we're going to need good Fiend support, and maybe a few extra normal monsters we can use to supplement Warrior of Zera and Ryukushin Powered. So what can we play to help them out? On the normal monster side of things, the roster of Dark or Earth attribute normal monsters with 1600 attack is actually pretty vast. Depending on your taste, and perhaps even tech picks, you could add in Two-Headed King Rex, Voidvelg Pale Rider, or Crawling Dragon number 2. So if you have extra room in your deck list and need some filler monsters, you've got plenty to pick from. Rituals are in their infancy in Rush Duel, but that doesn't mean we don't already have some support lined up. Dedicated Praetorian can mill you 2 cards to set a ritual spell from your grave into the spell and trap zone, much like Wanderer Zera. Granted, that's a level 8 monster that we can't cheat into play, so you'll need tributes to get it out there, but it's also the perfect level to summon our Zeras with, so it's not all downside. For something a bit more early game friendly, consider running Dedicated Curse of Dragon. That one looks through your top 4 cards and grabs you a ritual spell that you find. Not only that, it's all for 1 less tribute. But a card I find fascinating here is Rady the Hopeful. You have to put a monster from your grave on the bottom of your deck to mill 3, but if you placed a ritual monster to meet that requirement, you can pick any of those sent cards and add them to your hand. So it's like recycling and drawing all in one. We've also got to keep an eye out for cards that like helping fiends out, and for that, we need to look no further than the Royal Rebels. Rocker can put any of our rituals back into our extra deck from the graveyard. Phaser is basically Monster Reborn for our rituals, though only summons in defense position, which is similar to Royal Rebels Blues if you have these spare cards for it. But the big shout out here has to go to Royal Rebels Doom Metal. Its effect requires you to tribute summon it using 2 level 7 or higher fiend monsters, which our 2 Zeras can provide. By doing so, you get to blow up all of your opponent's face-up monsters and burn them for damage equal to their level times 100. And it doesn't even restrict your summons or attacks too, so after that massive onslaught, you can swing it for even more damage, unimpeded by your opponent. And now that our ritual Zeras are in the graveyard, our Royal Rebels that revive big fiends now have targets. But they aren't the only fiendish game in town. Summoned Skull is another theme in Rush Duel that has a surprising amount of additional support around it. I'm not going to go over all of them here because that could be a video all its own, but Summoned Skull is a legend monster with fantastic stats, giving you a kind of halfway point between your dinky little normal monsters and full-on Zera. And if you want some more reactive removal, both Summoned Skull and Zera allow you to activate Archfiend's Thunderbolt. To cover the rest of our legend cards, Dark Factory of Mass Production is a go-to option. For all the normal monsters we dump into the grave, having a way to put them back into rotation is a must, especially if you play that Summoned Skull. However, the legendary trap card you pick is kinda up to you. Nothing in particular synergizes with our deck, but Compulsory Evacuation Device is pretty good in everything. As for a silly tech pick, well, it's not quite as well positioned as the rest of the crew, but if you don't feel like going all in on Summoned Skull, you could use your Monster Legend slot to play Dark Lord Zerato. Not only is it very flavorful. Adding enough dark monsters to the deck gives you a good chance to not only get that sweet summon discount, but also the monster wipe effect. Now, you do lose Zerato at the end of the turn, but if you win, it hardly matters. Or, if you expect your opponent to survive that turn, it just so happens to have the exact levels you need for a Zera ritual summon. And that's all I've got to say about Zera the Mant. Seeing this fresh coat of paint on an old ritual monster does my heart good. A lot of monsters got the short end of the stick during the early days of the game, which left a lot of cool ideas in the lurch, so it's wonderful to see Rush Duels revisiting them so we can unleash their untapped potential. I'm looking forward to seeing more Zera cards in the future, and maybe a little something for Crab Turtle? Come on, look at this messed up little freak, you know you want to see a whole theme about this guy. But now, I want to hear what you all have to say. Are the Zera cards worth selling your soul for? Or are these memories better left forbidden? Let me know your thoughts down below, and if you haven't already, please be sure to like the video if you liked it, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, be sure to check out one of my videos in the sidebar to help me show up on your homepage, and be sure to share this video with somebody you know who loves Yu-Gi-Oh! It really does a lot to help me out. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and save 5% on your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout while helping out the channel. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commander, Upstairs Media, Nebula Navigators, 3rd Dynasty, 50 Gigabytes, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Battle Axe, Kane Senpai, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade Copperbottom, Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Green Knight, Great Big Pillock, Groog, Hair Bear, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Marion James E. Picata, Meme King, Millennia Asta, Muse Clark, Neon Yaminair, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Pat Boos, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, Sonic 21 Blast, the Critic of Innocence, Thievery Coast and the Wizard Moose, Cosmic Crusaders Ally Vatnia, Animasta, Anthrak, a Random Pup, Blitzwolf, Chaz Ghost, Christopher Fuss, again, Crispy, Cool Trainer Dark, Dr. Entity RIP, EB Channel, Eki Bullock, Eva Padilla, Herbal D, Inblink, Julian Marquez, Kale the Dragon, Lobomaru02, Manga Pages, Natiel Lee Alexander, Nitromo, Not Al Gore, Obsidian, Pombo, Rhyme Kairos, Shizuka Nishimura, Simic Toadstool, Sir Knight JCB, Sphilia, Stephen Huntsman, Stephen Williamson, The Legendary Raven, The Phantom Knights of Shitted Pants, The Queen of Time, The Gene, Tiger X2476, Tristan O'Meara and Zaldrucka, as well as all the lovely Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you would check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member. And if you'd like to see another video about some core TCG cards that made it into Rush, check out this video where I cover the Rush Cyber Dragons. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.